Hey guys, this is Scourge doing another video, and I'm here with a guest today. I'm here with Blob. Say hi, Blob.
Hi, everybody.
And we're gonna do a little bit of session review on my session that I just played today. So it's good and fresh. I probably remember what the hell I was thinking, at least a little bit. And this is 25 NL zone on the top left, and the rest are 50 NL regular tables. So it should be pretty fun. I'm starting off a little deep on the 25 NL table. I know you can't see the stakes, but I promise it's 25. So we'll get started here. And
So the rundown of this video is Scourge is going to be talking about good lines to take, and I'm going to counteract with terrible lines.
and we might meet somewhere in the middle.
After he yells at me.
I'll try to keep the yelling to a minimum. Maybe. Alright, so it'll be a little bit slow because we only got one zone table, but hopefully we'll keep the banter going here. And oh, I'm already topping up. That's great.
There you go.
Snap fold. Yeah, I noticed I was like 400 big blinds deep, and I was like, you know what? This would be a great time to start a video. Like,
Of course.
looks like I know what the hell I'm doing, so that's good. I think basically for this entire video, I don't make any money on the other three tables. So,
Standard.
yeah, pretty standard. I also notice I'm running a 40-32 on the top right. Not really sure why.
And where's your hands on that?
Hands. Oh, okay. I should
right
probably
there.
run through this
Okay.
HUD. So we got number. It has this like little number sign. Whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a standard C bet here. Nothing to see.
Mhm.
VPIT, PFR, aggression factor, which is that useful?
That's steal and
You can
fold
debate
to
that.
steal.
Yep. Steal, fold to steal.
3-bet, fold,
Three
3-bet.
bet, fold, 3-bet.
C-bet, fold, 3-bet.
Exactly.
Or C-bet, yeah. Okay.
There are some other stat options, but I haven't really used them that much. This HUD is Hold'em indicator. So far as I know, it's the only HUD that's compatible with Bovada, and of course, it's only sessional, and therefore
any
useless for zone.
Stats beyond this probably won't even begin to converge.
Yeah, that was
one session. So
that was pretty much my thought, and I don't even remember what the stats were. I could look them up at some point, but nothing too amazing. All right, so bottom left, I think I isolated and C-bet, and then he let out on the turn at 1. And actually, let's try to get back to this table. Okay. So he leads out for $1 again, and I'm like, okay, how can I get the most value here? So thoughts on sizing?
745 is the pot.
Yep.
Me personally, I would probably make it like 450-ish.
Yeah, I think I'd go somewhere thereabouts.
I guess he has maybe some 10x.
I went 444 by accident. I meant to make it 440. Just kind of figuring most of his range is going to be weak pairs here, like 8x, maybe 10x. He doesn't have that many kings in his range when he bets $1 on the turn in river.
Yeah, I doubt it.
And he just folds. Alright, do you know if I like press space, is that like a pause and a play? Let's try.
Space.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's great. Okay. This is
Alright,
great. Now I can drag this down. I don't need a little button.
Well, you're on QuickTime, right? So I wouldn't.
QuickTime doesn't.
Oh, wait. Yeah, you're. All right. So it's playing through Camtasia.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't know, so.
Yeah, luckily the space bar doesn't stop the recording. It just does playback. So anyway.
Or so we hope until we get to the end.
No, I see it. I see it right up here. It says stop recording.
All right,
because
so
we have the
let's just
option
save
to
the
do
video. Wait, what video? Shoot.
All right, standard folds, standard folds. Bottom right, I guess I could have 3-bet that, but he's pretty tight, looks like, so I didn't really think I was necessarily getting that many folds from his opening range.
Agreed.
But yeah, you'll see some fun things in this video that you'll have to look forward to, James. There'll be some moments where you're like, so this is 50 NL, huh?
I don't think I'd be surprised, honestly, after all the stuff I've seen at 25. I doubt that people will just miraculously stop spewing because it's now 50. So
Indeed, you'll notice there'll be a few people with pretty impressive stats. I think there's an appearance of a 90 10 in one of these tables, I think.
a wild fish appears.
Yes, exactly.
So for anyone watching that's as good or better than us, Bovada is really hard. You probably shouldn't play it.
Yeah,
Stay away.
just leave it to us. We'll deal with all the regs on here
Yeah.
because they can get pretty intense at times. Can I like go faster? Is there a way to do that? I feel like there should be a way to do that. I don't know how though. Whatever.
This is, you're saying for Camtasia?
Yeah,
I
for
doubt
playback.
it.
Bummer, but that's okay. Alright, we open ace queen, get called. We're a little bit deep with this guy on the button.
And you're on max, so I definitely couldn't help you there.
Well, I mean the program should be the same, but and we c-bet and take it down somehow.
And not that surprising.
Yeah, I mean sometimes people go a little crazy because they're like, oh, you can't have anything. Rah. I float Jack 10 offsuit so I can bink something. Or at least that's what I imagine them thinking. I don't really know what they're thinking.
I think the only thing they're really wanting to float there is pocket pairs. So
yeah, so pretty loose open in the small blind, the top left. I think it's okay. Are you c-betting here?
I would c-bet.
I think I do too.
Just because I c-bet any ace high board blind versus blind like this.
Yeah, I definitely think we get a lot of snap calls down, and I just don't see the point in barreling when he.
No, I wouldn't barrel.
Snap calls there, so we're just gonna give up, and we do give up. I'm really good at giving up in this video. You'll find.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, except one spot I just get fed up, and it's wonderful. This project. This Camtasia project is nicknamed Scourge equals Hero because I do take some pretty interesting lines later on down
For the record, everybody, Scourge is not a hero. So
I do like hero calling though. We almost ISO'd the top left there with the Jack 10 offsuit, but I think his stack size made me decide not to. Because he was sitting on like $15 or $18, something like that. And again, we c-bet and give up because when people call our c-bets, they've usually got something. And on ace high boards, it's really hard to rep much that's scaring anyone with an ace.
Yeah, I don't think he's folding there.
Even if we triple, I think a lot of opponents on here are just going to call down because they have top pair.
Yep.
I has top pair.
I found that out the hard way.
Didn't we all? I think I like squeezing the top left because we're deep. We kind of threaten a lot more by 3-betting in terms of what getting it in means. Oh, I do squeeze. Yay. They're probably both gonna call now just because I'm saying it's such a good spot. We catch top pair, and what are you thinking in this spot? Like, are you betting? What are you sizing if you're betting?
I would probably bet, but I think check calling is also okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't see him calling much that we beat.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good point.
But I could see him betting plenty that we beat.
I think that's a good point. I think I prefer betting in this hand just because when we don't bet, we're kind of I feel we're even more lost than usual because we're in this fairly bloated pot, right? The pot's already 30 big blinds,
Yeah.
even though it's only a 3-bet pot. And I feel like we are going to get ourselves into trickier spots when we check call.
Yeah. I mean, but
But
we could see him give up a lot on turns, though.
that's true. Also, when we check and an overcard comes, it makes our life a little bit tricky. But
Yeah.
I think check calling is definitely valid. But I also prefer controlling the size of the pot by deciding what I want to bet, which you're going to notice here is fairly
If
small.
I bet, which, like I said, I probably do, but I probably bet around the size of my 3-bet pre.
Okay, yeah.
Not
So
much over.
so rough. So a
Probably
little.
about $4.
So a little less than half pot. We 3-bet 340. And remember there was the
340. So yeah, I'd probably bet around like 375 ish.
I think that's exactly what I bet. I actually like going even smaller here because we're deep. If he raises on any street, we're starting to look at a very, very large pot. So I
Yeah.
actually like going smaller than I did, but I think 375 is like on the okay side. And we'll see that despite all of my talking about not creating terrible spots, he's going to go ahead and raise us. So now what are you thinking? Also note that he types in the chat box, yeah, I'm so sure.
Wow. Okay, that's not sure what to make of that read, but
you should ignore that, by the way.
Yeah.
Or try to.
I mean, that almost makes me want to call that much more, but
I actually would normally perceive that as strength, just because people tend to do weird things with nuts.
I don't even know what to make of that, to be honest.
We'll just ignore that. So he raises the flop. So what do you think he's doing this with?
In game, I ignore the chat as well.
Right.
I mean, the only thing I think he's raising here that we beat is flush draws.
Okay.
I don't think he has 9x, so.
Okay. I'm gonna disagree slightly because I think that people have this weird tendency to raise when they have top pair and they're not really sure what to do, especially when it's a top pair that is likely to be vulnerable on a later street. However,
I think maybe 8-9, 10-9 suited, something like that.
However, in this spot, I tend to agree with you just because, like, if he is flatting 8-9 to a 3-bet, I don't really think he's going to be like raising it in this spot just because I don't think those player types are particularly synonymous.
Yeah, he's going to want to get the showdown at that point.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, if he did have a 9, I'd be really surprised. I think he definitely has a lot of flush draws. I think it's possible he's got a hand like pocket jacks, but I think he's more
That's
likely
what I'm
to just.
thinking, because, I mean, he's probably not, normally I think he's flatting the 3-bet pre there with, 10s, jacks.
Right.
Probably even queens.
Maybe queens this deep. Yeah, I could definitely see that being a strong possibility. So, do you think he has any pure air? Like, I don't know, gut shots, say? We'll call it gut shots, pure air.
It's Bovada zone, so there's definitely some pure air here.
Okay.
I've actually, I think I told you, I went through a bunch of hands. I filtered on Poker Tracker for getting raised on the flop.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of air in there.
It's a gross amount of air to made hand ratio.
I did some of that today, and I was appalled.
I told you it'd be very exciting to go through it and see it.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I'd probably just fold here.
Okay. I think folding is definitely a very strong default line, and I get pretty out of line in this hand. But also notice that we're getting a pretty insane price on our call.
Oh yeah,
we're getting
over 3-1, so
quite better than 3-1. Now that's not quite a justification per se, simply because
I could see merit to calling and seeing what he does on the turn too, though.
I think the tricky thing is that we know that we're likely going to face further aggression on later streets. So we have to be prepared to not just be like, okay, I'm like calling down because he's
Yeah,
full of
now,
shit.
yeah.
We have to be ready to like evaluate future turn cards and river cards and say, okay, what does this mean for the hands he would have raised for value and the hands he would have raised as bluffs?
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you got to be ready that his bluffs could have turned into made hands as well. So
Exactly. So we do go ahead and call after a little bit. Let's see, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, what? I think I was reading the chat and like being like, does this mean anything? Can I let this mean anything? And then I just decided to ignore it. But I am timing down quite a bit. I do decide to call. And the turn comes that card.
Turn card.
And I check.
Now you're check folding.
So I think in this spot, I should almost certainly be check folding. And I make a really, really bad call on the turn, if I'm not mistaken.
And then you fold the Brook River. Right?
So I think my thinking there
gross river
was that I still beat all of his pure air. And at this point, I don't really think that he can have that much like pocket pairs because I think they freak out and check the turn. That being said, I still think the turn is a fold.
Yeah.
Like a very clear fold.
Yeah, I mean, the turn is a decent card for him to actually barrel, but...
Right. And he jams. And at this point, I really just decided if I'm calling the turn because I think he's full of shit, I have to call this river because he doesn't rep anything on this river except for a flush. He's never value betting anything else on this river.
Yeah, I mean, once I get this far and you're getting...
Better than 3-1.
3-1 again.
About 3.5, yeah. So we do only need to be good about 22-ish% of the time. 20, something like that.
Which I think we are.
And we call. And he shows that. So we went, in my opinion, a pretty lucky pot there. I really think the turn call is pretty bad. But once we do call the turn, we kind of just have to take our great odds and say he probably has some air here. I'm not sure if it's really 25% or more, but we definitely have to. If we're calling the turn, it's to call the river.
I would think that on that board in a 3-bet pot, there is at least 25% chance of air there. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like the worst call in the world, but I'm certainly not convinced that it's plus EV. I'll have to think of more through combos later. But anyway, we pink a set in a limped pot on the bottom left, which is always fun because we know we're not going to get paid.
I wouldn't say that.
But
regular table, I guess it's harder.
Oh, he wants to call. He puts in 250 and he's only got 6 behind. But I think he folds the turn, if I'm not mistaken, for like a 2/3 SPR. Not even. Yep. But I think
some pocket pair there.
Yeah, I think we basically have to bet though, just because there's a flush draw, and there are certainly some aces that will limp in and call at least one bet.
Oh yeah.
I think checking behind is pretty bad on the flop, just because not a lot of hands can improve unless they're improving to the nuts over us anyway.
Yeah. And you get value from flush draws there on the turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was amazed. I had a limp pot yesterday, and I'm in the big blind with like 4-6 offsuit or something, and I banked it nut straight on the flop, and the guy actually just stacks off in like a 5-bet flop, and he had like king jack or something like that.
Air?
Yeah, complete air.
Wow, drawing dead. I
no
like it.
Flush draw, not even a suited card to,
Backdoor.
runner, a flush, nothing.
That's brilliant.
I mean, it was insane.
That is fun times. Oh boy. Man, let's get some spots. What's happening here? It's like no spots. Bottom right, I think I overcall, which I usually prefer to trying to isolate just because there's a short stack there, and not really convinced we are going to get that many folds pre-flop. And when it checks around, I actually think a stab here is okay. I think it's a little bit thin, but I think we're going to take the pot down a lot. Oh, but I check. And we bingo set.
For what it's worth, I think I've checked that flop behind.
I think because it was so wet, I decided to check, but I think a stab is probably plus EV. Are you raising here?
Oh, I don't know. Probably want to raise here.
Yeah.
Just because I think we can get, ace X of diamonds, king X of diamonds to call a raise.
You mean like ace of diamonds or king
Yeah,
of diamonds?
yeah, that's
okay.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, well, we're fucked if he's got
ace
X of diamonds.
I meant the ace diamond X.
Got it.
Diamond X.
Ace diamond XX. All
yes.
right. So yeah, I think he's definitely leading with some of those types of hands. I think he's leading with some like 10x, queen X. I think he's also leading with pure air sometimes. But I still think a raise, like he says.
He fires 10x or queen X on the flop, though. No.
I think probably, but not necessarily. There are certainly some players that will and some that won't. And he's not like that aggressive, so yeah. But I do think a raise is gonna get us more value. So we do that, and pretty small, but and obviously we do have some outs.
That's
if
fine.
he does somehow
for a
have a
limp
flush.
pot,
If he does have the flush already, we do have quite a few outs, but he just folds. So I kind of put him on more like air, and type of air hand there or something, or hand with one diamond, but he didn't think it was strong enough to face a raise. Who knows?
Yeah, probably leaning more toward air, but
what happened in this hand? We call his under the gun raise, and then we check call the flop. I think the diamond's going to slow him down a lot, so I like check folding, just because I think most of his air is going to give up on this turn card.
yeah.
If I tank check, I don't know why. I think I was typing in Skype or something. And he does check, and then I don't really see any merit to betting, because we're definitely not getting value from anything.
No, I would just want to get the showdown.
Yep, and we do, and we take it down. Did not look at results, I don't think. But I'm putting him on a ton of ace high there. Yeah, ace jack's a pretty likely candidate since he.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened in the top right. I think we bet and got raised and folded or something like that.
But the jack 9?
Yeah, but we also made a really loose open under the gun, so. Well, technically it was more like mid position. Yeah, we're going to tank fold the nut low. Thinking about making
a little bit.
Thinking about making a play at this 43-16 fish, pre-flop, because he's folding to 0 out of probably 1 or 2 3 bets.
Yeah. It's a perfect spot for 3 bet.
In my opinion, yes. I like 3 betting the ace 4 offsuit. What do you think?
I mean, your play is different than mine.
Ooh,
so.
we fold. We make a tight fold.
I usually just snap fold those rag aces there, but.
Well, I usually get snap folds from them when I 3-bet, so I usually 3-bet that spot. But it's certainly a 3-bet or a fold. Definitely never calling there. But I like 3-betting it just because people are playing so fit or fold post flop in 3-bet plots usually. Um, we make a bit of a loose open on the button against these short stackers. We get one call and we see bet, which I think is a pretty standard value play. Although we're not getting called by a ton. I think we're mostly getting called by pocket pairs and like gut shots, like 7-6 suited.
Yeah, I might even check behind that flop.
Yeah, I don't hate a check back. I think my thought then was like if I'm getting value from anything, I'm getting it more often on the flop, but I'm not really sure that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
Because he
there's
can
just not
catch
a
up with
lot you
like a
can add
pair.
there.
Yeah. But we certainly don't mind just taking it down either.
Nope.
I'm tank folding all these like really gross hands. 6 deuce suited, yeah, come on.
Do we have a tank fold 7 deuce?
Get the money in. Yes, we do.
Oh, he's tanking. No. Oh.
Thought about it. It's like, guess I'll fold the hand with the worst equity in poker.
Fine, you win.
You win. Take it down. I might like stabbing with the 6s there on the top left sometimes, just because I think this hand's going to get harder for us to play on later streets, and we're just going to have to give up so much. And we call because it's a tiny bet.
Of course.
And I think once we check call 25 cents on the flop, there's not much point leading turn. And the river is basically the worst turn card, or river card for us, but it's okay, we can check fold. No harm done. And I actually sat out to see what they had, because I figured I was ahead. I figured I was ahead until the river, and I was.
What villain is calling and not shoving with there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he doesn't shove aces up there.
It's a pretty bad flat.
I mean,
for
he had
him.
what, like $3 behind? Something like that.
5 maybe, but yeah, like some outrageously small amount.
Weird.
Yep. So we're now about 600 big blinds deep on the top left. Just saying. In case you didn't notice.
Oh, that's what that was? I thought you had $14.
Yeah. What am I doing? Bottom right, I actually think is a pretty sick ISO spot with 6-5 suited versus the under the gun limper, but that's okay. We played a little. Oh, sorry, his stack size is tiny. No, but that's a fold.
Yeah.
Good fold, us. Good fold. If you were deeper stacked, it's becomes a much better hand to isolate because we can get him to put money in and fold it post flop. So basically, free dead money. And I think we isolate King Jack in the top left, but I think it's actually a little bit thin, out of position against a 50 big blind stack.
I think it's okay. I mean, we're not going to go crazy.
So. Yeah. I think this is pretty much, even though we do have a double gutter, I think this is a pretty bad board to see that because I don't see what we're getting folds from that often.
I mean, with how much I see it, I'm actually kind of opposite in that I don't mind getting into spots with short stacks because they just love to shove so wide because their SPR is so small all the time.
Yeah, I think that's valid, but on this board,
just from my experience, it's just been super EV versus short stacks, picking up any sort of made hand.
Right. I think, did I stab this river? I'm not sure. No, we just check. I think like his sizing is really indicative of a medium strength hand. I'm kind of surprised he's as strong as he was, to be honest. Just because his sizing looks very weak. Yep. Limp folds to our kings. That's the other thing this session. I get a lot of like pretty good made hands post flop, but then don't get paid much.
So what did you size it to there? 4x?
Yeah, 4x. He limped under the gun. We were in the big blind.
Oh, there was a limper.
Yep.
I thought maybe you were 4xing your value hands.
Not in the small blind. I do occasionally do that in zone under the gun because
I've started doing it more.
We're obviously not exploitable in terms of people like knowing, oh, he's got a value hand.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but usually I default to 3x. I haven't really done a lot of thought about whether one would be significantly better than the other, so therefore I haven't changed my strategy very much.
I noticed I've started potting my 3-bets more too.
Oh yeah, were you just always 3xing?
I used to always 3x, but
yeah, I usually go if they're opening a normal size, I go like 3x or sorry, not 3x, 9 big blinds in position, 10 big blinds out of position, but I think I can probably start experimenting with bigger sizes out of position when I have value hands.
yeah, I mean they call so much and fold so much on the flop.
Yeah, exactly.
That I'd rather try to get my value in pre.
Exactly, and especially when we're deeper stacked, I don't think there's anything wrong so long as we're playing a solid bankroll. I don't think there's anything wrong playing to create a smaller SPR post flop so that we know we're going to be able to get it in more often with our value hands.
Yeah, exactly. Without having to face raises and such.
Yep. And again, the so-called passive fish is getting aggro, and what I would normally love as a 3-bet, we sadly have to fold. I don't really remember what I'm thinking in the top left here. I think maybe just that he doesn't have much, so I'd rather bet.
What happened pre? He min open?
Yes. Yeah, he must have min open. He min opened and we flatted pocket threes, which I think is pretty meh. I think we can just fold. I don't think we're getting implied odds, and we get ourselves into a fair number of gross spots since he's so short. Only like 35 big blind stack. So I kind of prefer just giving it up, actually.
On the flop, you're saying?
No, pre-flop.
Yeah. So on the flop, I would stack there, though.
Yeah. This spot, on the other hand, this guy is fully stacked. We're actually only 80 big blinds deep. I'm not sure why I haven't topped up yet. There are also other people who could have continued behind us, and he's also playing fairly tight. Only 13 hands, but he's looking like he's shaping up to be nitty. So I don't mind calling as much, but we're just going to give up when he c-bets because actually a check raise is pretty sexy there. I probably should have check raised, but I take pretty ABC lines on my regular tables usually, but I could probably start opening up.
Get everything.
I think a check raise there is okay because if he does call, we can rep so many cards that come in, like backdoors, or not backdoors, excuse me, open-enders that get there. So I think a check raise is actually pretty valid there because on the button, he will still have some hands that are c-betting that board as a bluff.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's even a board I'd like to think about trying to start.
I think he c-bets most of his opens there.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a board that like I want to start experimenting with the donk leading just because when I don't think he can have much, like I want to see if I'm getting more folds than. I mean, it's tricky, right? Because we'd love to check raise and take down more free money, but I also think that donking confuses people more.
Yeah.
And so, kind of trying to figure out if there's anything I can do about that. We get min 3-bet by the small blind in the top left, so I decided flat, getting a pretty good price, and expecting to be able to outplay him in a lot of hands post-flop. When he checks this flop, I think he's either got basically aces, a flush, or nothing. And so I just I bet to try to take it down, but we get check raise huge, so I just fold.
It's fine. What happened on bottom right with King 10?
We folded pre-flop. Yeah. I think we were facing a raise from a short stack.
Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah, no, we never saw that flop. We bemoaned our luck when it came down. That's what happened.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, I would have had 2 pair.
Well, you have to be results oriented in poker.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it through this whole video, but I know there's another spot somewhere in the nearest future, so we'll try to get to another interesting spot and then.
How long is this video?
It's about an hour. So I guess it wouldn't be that long if we did the whole thing, but we've
Yeah, we
paused a
got to
few
be
times. So
more than halfway through now.
let's see. I guess I can drag this up and find out. Doo-doo-doo. Let's see. We're
Oh shit,
25
that's
minutes
it.
in, and it's about an hour long. So yeah,
Well, let's see where it goes.
we'll get it. We'll get at least halfway through, and then see how we're feeling. See what's going on.
I got all night, so
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to sleep, but I might. I might grind again because it's a Saturday night after all, and
I didn't
it's
roll out of bed until 6 o'clock. So just saying.
well, fuck you.
Well, I had some drinks last night. All right.
I didn't, sadly. I made $2 grinding online
And I started.
after losing 500 live.
I figure I'm at work for 12 hours every night, and since I quit smoking, I've tried to start working out and exercising. So I
Nice.
decided if I'm at work for 12 hours, I should start exercising at work.
Mm.
So I did about 300 and some odd push-ups the other night,
Ow.
and I still feel it.
Yeah.
Like my whole body just aches right now.
I know you were telling me about your coworker who does like a bajillion.
Oh, he
Push-ups
does an
every day.
insane amount of push-ups.
I'm just like
He does like 500 something every single night.
I swear I poop out after like 10. I'm just like I'm
Well,
done.
that's how I was doing it. I was doing 10 every like 10 minutes. Until like 2 in the morning, I was like, I'm done. I'm so done.
That's still more than I could do. Like I'd do 10 the first 10 minutes, and the next 10 minutes would be like 8, and then the next 10 minutes would be like 5, and then like the next time I'd be like, you just fuck
Well, I
it.
wanted to prove myself. I wanted to do 500 since that's what he does. But he's in a lot better shape than me, so it's probably not smart to try to chase his average.
Yeah, perhaps not. We took a delayed c-bet line with Ace King on a 8-7 deuce 7 or something like that, which I thought was pretty standard, so I didn't pause it or anything, but figured I'd point it out.
Yeah.
I think we made a laydown. Yeah, we didn't open that 9-7 offsuit, which I think is like pretty borderline as an open in small blind.
Yeah, I mean, it was zone too, so I probably just click fold and gets in next hand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless like I'm super deep and big blind super deep, then maybe I'll just try to bink some weird retarded big pot.
So we flat the ace 10, which I think is close but okay against a 50 big blind stack. I certainly don't like 3-betting it just because he's so short. But when he checks, I like stabbing because I can't think of that many value hands that he checks on this board. But when he calls, I'm certainly rethinking that. But I'm putting him on a lot of like pocket 9s, pocket 10s.
Yeah, I mean,
But I still think we gotta give up because I'm not sure he's gonna fold those even if we bet 3 streets.
he could have had a gutter or something on the flop, but
Well, he opened pre, so it's a little bit harder for him to have that type of hand. But I agree, it's possible.
well, 9-10, 9-8, but even then he either gets there or picks up a pair.
Indeed. It's okay. It's okay to give up once in a while. Your parents lied to you. It's okay to give up. I know there's action here somewhere. It's
No, I wasn't
just
yawning
waiting.
at this video. I was just. Well, this could get interesting on the bottom left.
Yeah, so I think I'm actually going to pause because this is a spot where I actually wasn't 100% sure I wanted to see bet. Because there's not really any draws except for gut shots, I guess. And even though they're both fish,
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think King X folds to one bet.
yeah, so I think we're getting value from King X. And you have to remember that because they're fish, they're playing a lot worse aces than we are.
That too.
And an ace is certainly never folding. So I think a bet is fairly standard here, but I just wanted to throw out that I don't think it's necessarily like a no-brainer.
I mean, even Queen Jack 10 Jack for a gutter, I think they're calling there. So with those stats, at least.
Right. All right, so we get one caller, which I think if we got both, I might be more likely to check behind on this blank turn. Oh, I do check behind. I think another bet is actually called for here.
Yeah, I would bet there.
And then we can check back most rivers. He gives us an insane price, so we're obviously not folding, but I don't think there's any merit to raising either.
No.
So we just call. And we're good. So he did call it just a king on the flop, which was what we thought would happen, so that's good.
Yep, it's always good.
Pounding on a wall somewhere. I don't know why. Pretty standard check with the ace-5 offsuit in the bottom right. This is an extremely wet board, and we have almost no backdoor equity at all.
Yeah, I just check fold there.
So we give it up. And that HUD thing was on the wrong guy, so I moved it over.
Standard.
It's annoying. Standard. Yeah, it's pretty annoying that I have to continuously move these things around, but at least it's only when I first open the table up.
So you actually bought the HUD? Or
I did go ahead and buy it. I decided, it's only 2 buy-ins, and I know that I'm going to need it once I don't have zone anymore. It's going to be such an edge difference, I think, that it's certainly worth it.
Yeah.
It's been incredible because I think I was talking to you about this, where it was like, man, like I can tell the difference between, like an 80-20 and like a 50-40. Which
yeah, it should make enough of an edge difference that it's plus EV to buy.
Oh, for sure. But it's great to kind of be able to use these more subtle aspects to exploit people, which before I wouldn't have been able to.
90% of the people you're playing against do not have this advantage. So
I would think at 50 and L that is probably true. I have run into a few people running pretty reg-like stats, but not that many over an actual sample of like 100 or more.
Yeah.
So like people running 25-20 are pretty far and in between. But they exist. But I imagine 100 and L will probably be a jump that will result in a perhaps more significant number of reg-ish type people. I accidentally timed out on the top left, but I think that was a fold anyway.
Yeah, I would fold that. But yeah, I think 100 is a big enough jump that you're not going to see nearly as much fish.
Now, that being said, I'm looking forward to encountering more regs and seeing how good the regs actually are, because
well, that's a whole nother story.
Even the guys running like decent stats, I've found to be against so far. I mean, I had a guy who
just the whole way the site is set up, it just induces so much action.
Well, yeah, that is certainly true.
They just, just because they're running reg stats, they might put you on being a fish. So
yeah, well, exactly. So I think
because on this site, everyone thinks everyone else is a fish.
Right. I think that's part of the key is that, I was 3-betting this guy relentlessly just because he kept folding, and I mean, I think that's correct against most players. But I could just keep doing it over and over and over again because
oh yeah,
what's he gonna do?
Never stop until they play back at you. So.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we opened top left, aces.
So yeah, in these situations, this is where I started 3-betting bigger.
Oh, yeah, actually we did 3-bet. Sorry, we didn't open. He opened under the gun, we 3-bet, and he flatted.
So.
And we go ahead and c-bet. I actually think I c-bet on the larger side just because it's dry, and we're certainly not getting folds from Jack X, or excuse me, Pocket Jacks or like 10X. He calls, and I think obviously we want to bet again. So what do you think about sizing here? He's got about 2160 behind,
Um,
and the pot's
well,
almost 10.
pot's almost 10. If you make it around 6-ish, make 16, and he would have
Well, if he calls, it would be
one. Yeah,
22, right?
he'd be around 22, and he would have like 15 behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, maybe even a little bigger than that, even.
Okay.
Just try to make it that much harder for him to give up on rivers.
Yeah, so I like going bigger, like 650 ish, just because I don't think he's folding for that difference. Something like 10x or a pocket pair. I
Yeah,
think it's going to be fairly inelastic. So I mean, I'm not looking to bomb it. I'm not like jamming, but
and you set up a good sizing also for him to check raise here too and try to get it in.
that's true. It's funny you say that because I actually make it smaller than I say I think I should, but I think he check jams here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know.
Oh no, he doesn't.
I'd probably go bigger,
He
but
check raises small.
that's weird.
So now what are you thinking?
I mean, I'm jamming. I mean,
Okay. What do you think? What do you think his range
under
looks
the
like
gun.
here?
I mean, calling a 3-bet. I don't think he ever has a set
Really?
unless maybe a set of tens.
Really?
Why you put him on him calling a 3-bet under the gun with sixes or sevens?
Well, at zone with no stats, I definitely think it. I see it sometimes. I'm not saying it's like. I'm not saying he has the full three combos of every single set possible. I think he's got more like one and a half or two combos if you kind of negate some percentage of him taking that line. But uh, I think it's still valid. However,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how much he's thinking. I mean, I don't know
I just think that
because
there's
you have to be super strong right now. 3-betting is under the gun.
well, probably I don't have to be, but I think that because Bovada is Bovada and we see so much spew on a daily basis, like I just can't do anything but get it in here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be expecting to see Jacks plus more than anything here.
If nothing, we're getting like something like 2.5 to 1 on a jam here if he calls 100% of his range.
I
So
think Jacks plus, you could even see like Ace 10 that picked up a flush draw.
well, we have the Ace of Diamonds, so that's not quite
yeah.
true.
Oh,
But
okay.
King 10 of Diamonds, Queen 10 of Diamonds, Jack 10 of Diamonds. If he's got any of that junk, he might take a weird line with it because he doesn't really know what to do when he picks up a flush draw. So I think for a number of reasons, we just get it in here. And I also just kind of thought his sizing was full of shit. Like his sizing just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think I don't know.
But I was actually surprised when I saw his hand. I just didn't see how he could think getting it in would be good there. After he check raises the turn. But
Oh, you didn't think getting it in would be good there?
for him
Oh, for him.
against our range or against like
Oh, yeah. No. I thought you meant it's not good for us to get in there
no.
because that's almost the exact hand I put him on there. So
Yeah, well, I just like it amuses me when people.
I just don't think he has that many sets.
Well, I mean, if he's taking a hand like pocket jacks there and getting it in, I mean, do you really think he's not flatting something like pocket sevens?
I don't think so. Because if he's flatting pocket sevens, I don't know. I think if he's flatting pocket sevens, he's probably going to overvalue jacks that much more. And
But
probably going to see a check raise on the flop. Or
I'm not following.
my point is that if he's flatting sevens, I think he's either four betting jacks or he's playing them harder post flop.
on the flop. Well,
Yeah.
you don't think he's playing it hard post flop? He check raises the turn for value, I assume.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's a weird spot.
I just think that his line is indicative of a player who thinks in terms of putting other people on air a lot, or like I put him on ace king. And so I think he's going to take a lot of pocket pairs post flop, even when we three bet. Granted, I couldn't have known that when I played the hand because we hadn't seen him do that yet. But I think that after the fact, we can look at it and say it's certainly possible for him to have sets. And I think the player pool is bad enough that they're flatting a lot of pocket pairs to three bets out of position just because they're like, I have a pair. How can I fold? Like before the flop.
Fair enough.
I don't think we can count on them having all the combos, like I said before, but I think we can certainly count at least a third to a half.
Point is, I think we're good there more often than not.
And we don't even need to be good more often than not because we're getting like 2.5 to 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, clear jam, and we win, which is always fun.
And in the end, we know all that he thought was, I have an overpair, so I'm always good here.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, here we go. This is kind of an interesting spot. Bottom left, it gets limped around, and we're in the big blind with ace-5 offsuit. We choose to check our option, which I think is pretty standard because we got short stackers. Short stackers to the left, short stackers to the right, etc.
Yeah, that seems fun.
So we catch this board. Are you leading out? Are you checking? What's your plan?
I just don't see what we get called by.
What do we get called by?
Like 3x.
Okay. And?
I mean, maybe some ace x.
Okay.
Maybe.
Anything else?
Not really. I mean, a couple of pocket pairs, which are crushing us. So.
Well, I mean, sure. Yeah. So I think we get called by. First of all, one thing that I think you missed is 5x. I mean, we are blocking it, but it's there.
Yeah, I've just kind of let that out since we are blocking it, but of course, yeah.
I think like something like 4-3 suited is certainly a possibility among people playing like 80 or 60% of hands and limping in pre-flop. So we're gonna see some weird 3x. We're gonna see the nuts sometimes, but hopefully we'll hear about it. I just prefer betting because we're gonna take down the pot sometimes too. And like I think we'll be able to figure out where we're at pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, we don't like mini turn cards, so.
Yeah, we don't like many turn cards and checking. I mean, I hate to say bet for information because that's not really what we're doing. But when we check, what are we doing? Are we check calling? Like, we do have top pairs, so a check fold seems pretty weak on this board against these players' ranges.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. If I'm checking, I'm not check folding.
Okay.
Unless it's some like ridiculous, over bet on the flop or something.
Right. So I do bet. We get one caller. We get. Some number of callers. We get a jam.
Yes, say so. So unless there's some ridiculous overbet, and then I think the bet's okay.
So now I think we can fold.
Yeah.
I want to say
probably going to see a set here.
Oh, we can see plenty worse than a set.
Yeah, but I mean, in a limp pot, I expect there's plenty of pocket deuces, pocket fours here,
and we get two callers, like two people behind us as well, and we can't really put them on much, other than like they might have a 3 that they might call with. So certainly never excited there.
So to be honest, maybe not the guy to your immediate left, but the other shorty, I think he's snapping with a 3 there.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I don't think they're folding if we're in there for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We're only about 40 minutes in, so what do you say? We should maybe call it a shorter video and then get back to it later,
Well,
or do you want to power through and make it a long one?
let's say we just power through, considering if there aren't too many spots that we actually have to pause at, then we're not looking at that much longer.
All right, let's just power through then. They can handle a longer video. I know they can do
Well, they can watch it in sections,
it.
or they just won't watch it at all. Either way.
Don't say that. All right.
I watch them all.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad somebody does. And we just get limp jammed on from under the gun, so we fold. This guy is just going to snap off with his queen 10 suited. So that's pretty legit.
He snaps the flop there?
No, they got it in pre-flop.
Pre-flop?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Standard.
a good spot that we weren't in.
Yeah, no kidding. We were drawing pretty thin pre-flop. Yeah, so top right, I think a bet is pretty mandatory, but I'm probably only willing to get it, only willing to like face a raise from the short stacker, and I'll probably get it in against him though, even though my pair is fairly weak. My kicker rather.
Yeah, I probably get it in there versus short stack.
Actually,
there's plenty of one diamond hands that he's going to want to get it in there with.
Right, or even like Jack X with a diamond.
Yeah.
I really hate my overlimp with the pocket threes though, because that guy's short and there's no plan in this hand. I was just mindlessly clicking because I have a pair, and I think that's pretty awful. I think it's just a fold.
Huh? No, do you want to run this, Troy?
Yeah, more people getting it in with really good hands. I wanted to flat the king 3 suited for some reason, but I didn't. Not too much happening. Looks like we lost Blob a little bit there, but
No, I'm
silently zoning out.
Silently talking to my wife.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you got up for a second there.
No.
In any case, we've got a lot of hands going on here. Hopefully the next video I make there, I'll have 2 zone tables, so it won't be quite this slow.
Alright, anyway. Nothing exciting happened, I'm sure.
No, nothing too much. Making some. I actually played a little tighter this session than normal. I might have opened the jack.
Tell my wife to.
Okay.
Get a pint of Haagen-Dazs vanilla too.
Right on. Right
yes. on. Yes. It's gonna be a good night.
I'm actually really jealous. Although I do have.
It's gonna be a super good night.
I do have a lot of candy right now. I buy a lot of candy.
Well, yeah, we had a lot of candy because this Halloween we weren't expecting. Well, I was working, but so my wife was planning on staying home.
Yep.
So we bought a bunch of candy, and then she ended up going out with my father's wife, I guess my stepmother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we had all the candy left over.
Okay.
So last night, after drinking, I ate a massive amount of candy.
Of course. What else?
Yeah,
Um,
it's all right. You only feel like shit for like 4 hours after waking up.
uh, yeah, I bought this like insane bag of pretzel M&Ms. It's like this giant resealable one. It has 22 servings theoretically.
Nice.
It's just like hell yeah.
That's me with Reese's Pieces, which I shouldn't be buying because I end up eating that giant, like, 2 pound bag.
Oh my god, yeah. Pretty bad. Yeah, so I think the queen jack top left is a pretty good spot to just make a tight fold. Although it's a pretty hand. I really love queen jack.
I agree.
Queen jack and jack 10 are
Though I never hit anything.
oh, they're so pretty.
I never hit ever, but I like
Yeah,
those
right.
things.
You've never hit it. You've never hit a hand before, but you're running like 40 big blinds per 100 at 25 now.
Not anymore, buddy. Not anymore.
Yeah, what is it now? Like 30?
No, I'm at like 16.
Oh, reasonable. Okay.
After the session's over the last 2 nights, it's probably more like 8.
Hey man, winning is winning.
Oh, I'm still up. I can't complain. I managed to salvage back to an over 500-hour roll. So.
Mm. All right, we're about to witness some spew. You ready? So top left, we isolate pocket queens against 2 limpers, and we get 1 caller from the button. We get this board, which I think is
betting the flop here.
Yeah, I am too.
And expecting a ton of pocket pairs to at least call one bet.
Yeah, what are you doing when he min raises?
I just don't think he's playing trips that hard.
Yeah, so I think
there's no draws out there.
I think when he limps in pre, we can like negate a lot of strong aces a fair bit, and so I'm more inclined to put him on like weird pocket pairs that decide a raise is a good idea, or like just some air hands. So I usually call this and reevaluate on the turn at least.
Definitely.
Turn is a pretty innocuous card. Doesn't really change the board a whole lot. But he jams for 2 times pot.
Yeah, that's gross then.
So what are you thinking now?
I mean, without even getting into it, I just sigh fold, but...
Yeah. So I think there are a couple things to think about here. Number one, I don't think people are 2x jamming pot with air as much as we want them to be. That being said, he might think a hand like pocket 10s is good here.
Yeah. I mean, I would actually be surprised if we were beat more than half the time right now, but we're not getting anything close to resembling odds.
Well, if we're good 50% of the time, we can always call.
What is the pot right now?
It's $30. We're getting 1.5 to 1
to call.
We need about 40% equity to call this off. Which, the last card will do very little to change things. So we're really just thinking about like how often does he have air or worse pocket pairs versus
way ahead, way behind right now.
Yep.
Again, I mean, I sigh fold, but
yeah,
I have called in these spots.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah, I actually think it's a fairly clear fold, just because I actually don't think he has that many weird pocket pairs. I don't think they play this hard that often, and I think that he can have all kinds of weird aces that feel more comfortable than they should, but because they feel so comfortable, they're going to jam.
Yeah, which is odd, but
so I think it's a pretty okay spot to just give up, but I don't. I say fuck it and I call.
That's the spirit.
It's part of the problem with having 106. Oh, so
Oh,
close, so
oh, oh!
and no,
Wow, he limp calls Ace King Pre.
and then goes absolutely bonkers post flop, which I don't understand.
No, I don't get that at all.
I think what happened, or when I called his raise on the flop, he just thought I had a worse ace, and so he just like, all right, max val, go all
Yeah,
in.
that's truly weird right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
against anything else, he totally ruined a good opportunity for you to try to barrel him off. So
yeah, I agree. But I still think I can just go ahead and make a disciplined laydown there. So bad me, but that's okay.
it happens.
All right,
I've
so
called there as well,
top left.
except somehow I'm always good when I call there.
Top left. We isolate with 9-8 suited versus 200 big blind stack, and we get 2 callers from 50 big blind stack on the button.
3-bet or
No, we isolate.
okay?
And we c-bet. Are you c-betting this board?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think I should be c-betting this board either.
It's just a bit too wet.
I think it's wet. I think we are getting some value, but it's going to be tough for us to distinguish value from bluffs on later streets in terms of like what we should be doing. So I really like just checking and letting the turn hopefully be a low blank.
Yeah, I mean, if it checks through a delayed c-bet is okay.
Yeah, but we do bet. We get 1 call. And we bink 2 pair, which is pretty sweet. And here I think it's a very clear value bet because the only thing that really gets there is like 7-5 or like Jack 10. And there are a lot of hands now that have more equity that are excited about it.
Yeah, that are going to want to draw to a.
And he gets it in with kings, which I thought was pretty interesting how he played it. Because he was short and he just flatted our isolation bet pre-flop.
Very strange.
But obviously I wasn't complaining when I
Nope.
bink the only card that can save me pretty much.
Get the frig out of here. Stupid cat. But yeah, nice hand.
Yeah, we bink sometimes. We run good sometimes. And they're babbling about it being rigged on the bottom left. I can't count how many times.
Worse hands on here. Okay, buddy.
So good.
You probably played like 800 hands total on here. just estimating there.
Give or take 100.
Yep. Well, he's one of those guys that gets on Card Chat and talks about how he was a long-term winner over 600 hands.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And he deals out the cards on his kitchen table to prove that like you can't ever get a certain number of hands in a row with like no ace, no pair,
yeah,
whatever.
He dealt out like 15 hands, and he says, "See, I should have won every one of those hands."
Player 2 trying to talk him out of it. He says, "Yeah, it happens both ways to all of us." The voice of reason.
Good job, number 2.
Player 2 coming through for the team.
But he's short, so he's probably saying the same thing on other tables.
With the pocket sevens there against the guy playing like 20, he's playing like 30 big blinds. I was probably getting it in, frankly. Not sure if that's good or not, but I probably would have been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm always so scared to get it in with any worse than like 10s pre. But that's just because anytime I always just run into the complete top of the range. And
just so everyone knows, Blob runs worse than anyone.
Yep.
All right.
Run like garbage.
So we Open ace-8 suited under the gun. We catch this flop against 2 players, and we make a pretty hefty flop bet, and we make a hopefully pretty.
Now we pick up some nice equity.
We pick up a fair bit of equity, which is pretty sweet. If we do happen to be behind somehow, we have a lot of outs. And this is a spot, I think. So, what are you sizing? I assume you're betting for value. Let me start. Let me back up and say.
I'm betting for value, definitely.
All right, what are you betting? And why?
It's 14. He's still deep.
Yep.
I'd probably bet probably around half pot.
Half pot. So you're looking to get value from weaker aces pretty much exclusively, right?
Yep.
Okay. I like it. I think I went too big, actually. I think I went like 10 or something, which I think is outrageous.
I mean, as long as we're bet folding, it seems okay. But yeah, that's why we should size it smaller too, though.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're actually getting raised by a whole lot here because the only thing that's really raising is like pocket eights. I think. Yeah. I guess he could have backed into pocket jacks full.
If it were me, you would have backed into jacks full.
Yeah, of course. That's how you got that 40 big blind per 100 win rate.
It's enough of that, sir. Win rate is history. All right.
It's history. All right.
Vanished.
But yeah, he folds. I think we could definitely go smaller to try to, because I think he is going to fold something like ace 10 a lot there, which we're not that happy about. On this board, I always check trips because when he checks the flop, I think he's folding a ton. But when he checks the turn, we gotta bet, even though he's probably already check folded onto the next hand.
Yep. Standard.
Bottom left, this was a limp pot, and we checked in the big blind. I really don't see any merit to betting here if it checks to us, and now I just kind of like folding, even though we're getting the sick price.
Yeah, I fold there.
With 3 behind us, I just don't see it going well.
Nope.
And our hand's obviously not going to be good at showdown that often.
And there's really nothing we can pick up that helps us that much.
Yeah. So ace jack, I decided to check the flop because I actually thought my hand was good so often that I didn't mind checking and then betting turns. I'm not sure if that was really good or not. But also because he was short, I figured he might jam a lot of stuff that I wasn't going to be excited about.
Yeah, it's kind of gross that he's so short because otherwise that's standard C-bet for me. But
right, so I actually checked call, even though he pots the flop, just because he can't really have a whole lot. But in retrospect, when he pots it, he's probably going to mostly have pocket pairs.
Yeah.
Maybe queen X, I guess, but I don't think he has a whole lot of air that he pots it with. So I don't really love it. But when we do catch a pair, we're in pretty good shape, so...
I wouldn't say that necessarily.
What? He's not potting air?
Yeah.
Well, let's just say...
What was the action pre-flop? He limped and you raised, or he raised and you flatted?
I believe he limped and I isolated.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you check that board, he's inclined to bet all his air there.
Yeah, but pot it.
They love to pot it.
I think most people aren't potting air.
Because they don't realize that you're going to fold to a half pot size bet just as fast as you're going to fold to a pot size bet.
Well, I'm actually not, because there are a lot of sizing tells usually.
They love to pot there.
I think sizing tell is actually pretty common here, and he actually does have pocket nines, but obviously, you know, one hand sample.
But I mean, I don't know. That's not much better in air right there either.
How is it not on the flop? It's a pretty good hand on the flop.
More often than not, anything you're calling that bet with on the flop, he is not good anymore.
Well, me versus typical player, hard to know. But I certainly don't fault him for betting. I'm betting in that position 100%, but I'm also not limp calling pre-flop with nines. So
No, I'm opening nuns. That's why it's just so confusing to actually try to hand read on here. Because everything is just so unorthodox. Thank you. Oh, I got the last vanilla Haagen-Dazs. Yes.
don't you eat that on here?
Huh?
You're gonna eat that while on here?
Say what?
Are you
No,
gonna
of
eat? You're
course
gonna
not.
eat that while on here?
Of course not.
If I hear munching and happiness,
You don't munch ice cream.
whatever. If I hear lip smacking or whatever,
There will be lip smacking. Oh, it's so good.
I hate you so much right now. You're worse than Ducky.
I have to, though.
You couldn't wait. It's only
I
like
cannot let this sit. This is vanilla Haagen-Dazs.
you don't have a freaking freezer.
There's a freezer.
We only have like 7 minutes left.
Carry on.
Ah, jerk. Asshole. All right. We double barrel the top left when we pick up a pair of aces, which I think is pretty standard, and then we get it in with king queen offsuit against 7-6 suited, and we lose. So that's standard. Pre-flop.
Jumping on Goomba's heads. Standard.
Yeah, and we take the lag approach. For anyone who hasn't seen it, you need to look up Nano Noko's videos where he's playing
Pikachu.
Nikachu, not Nano Noko. What am I saying? Nikachu's videos where he's playing Mario because it's great.
He actually just put a funny video up of him playing chess online too.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I saw he had chess videos. I didn't know if they were funny or not.
The last he just put it up like a week ago.
Okay.
But he's just like playing the most retarded lines in chess ever, and he's crushing too.
So top.
Just like here, we're gonna go with the king defense, and we're just gonna run our king out into the middle. Anyway, continue.
Great. Okay. So top right, we actually open under the gun and get called by the big blind, and he actually donks into us for half pot, and we call. Or no, what am I saying? He's small blind, we're big blind.
Okay.
I guess he must have limped it. We just checked. That was dumb. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not checking there, but
He min opened and we called. Sorry, because the pot was $1.90 on the flop. I got it now.
that's fine then.
All right, so he bets the flop for $1. We call. I don't see much merit to raising, so seems pretty standard. On the turn, he checks, presumably afraid of hearts, but I think we just have to bet because we have two pair now, and I think he's not folding that many aces. And if a fourth heart comes down, we pretty much hate everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, delicious. Okay.
Shut up.
And then we value bet the pocket jacks in the bottom right, which is obviously 100% standard on a super dry board. I think this guy just folds to us. Yeah, he gives it up. He probably didn't have too much, frankly.
No, I mean he's probably calling a one heart hand there too.
Yeah, any decent heart probably calls. We fold a monster in small blind, three-handed.
Should have shoved.
9 deuce offsuit. Definitely should have shoved. That's a standard play, really.
Mm-hmm.
We fold.
If you're not getting it in with deuce 3 offsuit pre, I don't know what you're doing though.
I really don't either. Never know what I'm doing. I actually think I managed. Yeah, I did actually manage to break even on this session somehow. I was very.
You top up so much less than me.
Oh, do I?
I'm like a top up Nazi.
I usually
like down a quarter at 25. No. Losing value clearly.
Yeah, I usually only I'm a Nazi about it if like there are deep stacked fish, in which case I want to be able to be very sure I'm getting max value against them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna tank raise pocket kings here for deception.
Nice.
And we get folds, so it worked out. Um, exactly my plan.
Mm-hmm.
We were repping aces, so we expected them to fold. And yeah, we got
Yeah.
we got maximum bluff equity. I'm just like spewing fake poker words now. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
All right. I don't
For the
know.
sake of this video, it's working.
I need a shtick, man. It's like I feel like I have isolated really stupid things that I say that work well, but I don't really have a shtick. I think I need to figure out what my thing is, you know. This is actually a pretty interesting hand in the top left. We open pocket nines and get 3-bet by MP. We're in under the gun, and he c-bets this board pretty big, which I find to usually be telling in a 3-bet pot. I sometimes call here and then hate my life because I face another like 80% pot size bet on the turn and I have to fold.
That's the only problem with it. Yeah, is we're
Um,
looking at another very big bet on the turn, more than likely.
yeah, so I think $4 is that really awkward amount where I'm not really sure if I want to call or just fold because I think 350 I definitely call one. 450.
What did he size his 3-bet to?
His 3-bet was fairly standard. It was like 265 when we made it, or
Huh.
what was it? It was bigger than 250, but not bigger than 275. I think.
Okay.
Uh,
So yeah, 265 I think is pot button there.
yeah, exactly. But then he's sizing pretty big on the flop, so I'm putting him on a lot of over pairs here. But I think it's okay to call one barely. It just grows when we catch like that turn card and we have to snap, give up.
I think it's fine to call one there and continue with a brick turn.
But I think he might actually give up on this hand. Don't remember. I should remember, but I don't. He bets 25 cents, which I actually thought about raising, but then
I don't like raising.
I decided that like he's either betting small because he's trying to get super thin value or just wants us to fold for super cheap, or he's betting to induce.
Yeah.
And either way, I'd rather just call.
Yep.
So I decided to call. I was like, can I raise small? And no, just call. Oh no, we'll tank, and then we'll call. You know I'm not folding. Whoops.
Almost shoved.
Yeah, I always like accidentally click the slider bar when I'm aiming for the check button, so I always like freak out. I'm like, oh shit, I'm about to go all in by accident again. And when he bets like this, I just kind of think maybe he's got a weirdly played flush or a pocket kings type hand, so probably just give it up.
Yeah, I'm not calling.
Just because it's like
It
hard.
looks like a value bet.
Just because it's hard for me to figure out what he's doing doesn't mean that he has air. What am I doing? Oh! I actually remember what I was doing. I was thinking about trying to raise him off of a hand like Ace King. Like trying to rep a flush, but I actually think that's pretty bad because what did I do?
The fact that we
Okay.
flat his turn. I
Yeah,
don't think we're ever going to look strong enough there to get him off a hand like that.
yeah. If I had taken a raise the turn line and then barrel a river line, it would have been a little bit more believable. But I think it's a clear fold. All right, I think it's just about at the end.
Oh no, I just started this pot.
Yeah, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I don't need to hear about your freaking Haagen-Dazs. Don't make me go. Don't make me go like get my Skittles and start munching on them.
I'm not jealous of Skittles.
Yeah, screw you. God damn it, everything's closed too. I can't even like go buy ice cream if I wanted it.
You don't have any like 24/7 convenience stores there?
Not nearby. I'd have to
Yeah, New Jersey, there's one on like every corner.
Anyway, we take a delayed c-bet with the ace jack there. And I think this is the end. Yep, alright. So, that was, yeah, that was fun. Not too many spots, but a couple of pretty good ones.
Yeah, you got to hear my confusion throughout.
Yeah. You got to see some pretty solid speed from me as well, so that's fun. Anyway, so whether you think I'm a hero or not, thanks for watching. This has been Scourge and Blob, and I guess we'll see you next time.
Blobweird out.
And see you later.